everyone. Today my topic is on the bacteriology is a spirochete. So into the learning objectives at the end of the session you all should able to know about describe the morphology and antigen, describe the pathogenesis and clinical features caused by the spirochetes, and choose laboratory diagnosis and interpretation of the result, and how to prevent and its treatment. So spirochete it is a thin, flexible, elongated, spirally coiled helical bacilli. So spira means it is the coil-like structure and jet means it is a hair. So it is a coil-like hair-like structure. So classification of the spirochetes in order, which are the spiroketals, and they divided into two classes, which are the Spirochetacea and second is the Leptospiraceae. Spirochetacea, which again divided into the Spirocheta, Cristospira, Treponema and Borrelia, while in Leptospiraceae is a Leptospira and Leptonema. Over here all these species, only three species which causing a pathogenic disease into the human, which are the Treponema, Borrelia and Leptospira. So about the ultrastructure of the spirochetes, which having the outer membrane over here, you can see, right? Second is the periplasmic space. It is the same like the bacteria, but the difference is there is over here in the inner endoflagella are present inside of the salvage. So these are the peptidoglycan layer. Then inner cytoplasmic membrane is over here, and these are the endoflagella into the periplasmic space. So over here picture, these are Borrelia, Treponema and Leptospira. Further, morphological difference between the Treponema, Borrelia and Leptospira, they causing the pathogenic infection into the human. So morphologically, Treponema size is 6 to 14 micrometer into 2.2 micrometer in size. The spirals is 6 to 12 in number, like this, right? A wavelength width is a 1 micrometer. Amplitude of the spiral, which at the depth is a 1 to 1.5 micrometer in size, and having a endoflagella at each pole, which are the 3 to 4 into the Treponema. Same into the Borrelia, size is a 10 to 30 micrometer into 0.2 to 0.5 micrometer in size. The spiral is 3 to 10 in numbers. In each bacteria, wavelength is 3 micrometer and amplitude of the spiral depth is up to 2 micrometer in size, and endoflagella at each pole, which are the 7 to 11 into the Borrelia. So over here, more endoflagella at each pole into the Borrelia. Third is Leptospira, size is 6 to 20 micrometer into 0.1 micrometer in size. They are numerous and tightly coiled with the hooked ends. Wavelength is 0.5 micrometer and amplitude of the spiral's depth is 0.1 micrometer, and endoflagella at each pole, which are the only one. About the pathogenesis, spirochetes, again they are divided into gives species, which are the Treponema pallidum, Treponema perteniu, Treponema endemicum and Caretium. Treponema pallidum, they causing venereal disease, cause a syphilis. Treponema perteniu causing yos. Treponema endemicum, they causing endemic syphilis, and Caretium is a pinta. So these three species of the Treponema, they causing a non-venereal infections, and they transmitted by the direct contact. Or here syphilis, they are transmitted by the sexual. Another Borrelia recurrent is they causing relapsing fever, which are the epidemic, transmitted by the louse-borne, Borrelia duttoni and Borrelia hertzni, causing relapsing fever, which are the endemic, and they are transmitted by the tick-borne. Third is Burgdorferi, they causing a Lyme disease, and they are also transmitted by the tick-borne. So into the Borrelia, they causing relapsing fever, in epidemic, endemic, and third is a Lyme disease. Fourth is Leptospira introgans, is a causing leptospirosis. They are a milder form, and another is a severe form, cause Welch disease. They transmitted by the contact with the rodent urine. So today we will discuss about the Treponema. Leptospira will discuss in next lectures. So Treponema, there is the pathogenic species which are the, I also explained previously slide into, they are the Treponema pallidum, subspecies is a pallidum, Treponema pallidum, subspecies is a Pertenue, Treponema pallidum having a subspecies which are the endemicum, they are same, and Treponema caretium, and this almost identical in their morphology, antigenic structure, and in genetic compositions. So about the morphology of the Treponema pallidum, they are extremely thin and delicate with tapering end. Over here, you can see over here, this is the tapering end. They are size 6 to 14 micrometer into 2.2 micrometer. This is spiral 6 to 12 spirals at the interval of the 1 micrometer. And they are a motile. These are the flexion extension type. It may be the translatory and corkscrew type motility are there. And endoflagella, about 3 to 4 flagella produce the motility and highly antigenic. In microscopy, they can be seen in the dark ground microscope or phase contrast microscope, and staining, they do not uptake the ordinary stain, so we are using fluorescent staining or silver impregnation methods. And this bacteria, they cannot be isolated into the artificial culture media. They maintain in a rabbit testis, example which are the Nicol strain. And another non-pathogenic treponema, they grow in a Smith-Noguchi medium under strict and anaerobic conditions. So these are the picture of Dahlfeld microscope. This sample directly taken from the chen tree. These are the same. These are the example of special staining method, which are the Fontana method. Now antigen, having a 3 types of antigen. These are the one is the group specific antigen, which are the protein in nature. They present in all treponems, and antibody detected using this antigen of the Ritter's treponemes. Second is the species specific antigen. These are the polysaccharide in nature, and this antibody detected by using specific Treponema pallidum antigens. And third is non-specific antigen, which are the heterophile antigen. These antigen, they antibody detected using beef heart antigen by various non-treponemal tests. Now, pathogenesis of the syphilis is they transmitted by the venereal, and another is a non-venereal by the direct contact, maybe the blood transfusion or the transplacental. They spread Treponema pallidum, they penetrate through the mucosa or ablated skin, and then they enter into the lymphatic and blood circulations, and then they are transmitted into systemic and causing a primary lesions. Incubation period, they are variable 9 to 19 days, inversely proportional to the number of organisms inoculated. So over a clear-cut pathology I described. So penetration first is a Treponema pallidum enter into the body via the skin and mucous membrane through abrasion during sexual contact, and also transmitted by the transplacental. Second is the dissemination, say they travel via the lymphatic system to regional lymph node, and then throughout the body via the bloodstream, and then invasion of the CNS can occur during any stage of the syphilis. Further, the bacteria rapidly enter the lymphatics, are widely disseminated via the bloodstream, and may lodges in any organ. The exact infection dose for male is not known, but in experimental animal, fewer than 10 organisms are sufficient to initiate the infections. The bacteria multiply at the initial entry site formation and producing the chancre. A lesion characteristic of the primary syphilis after an average incubation period of 3 weeks. So over here, the chancre is a painless and most frequently on the external genitalia, but it may occur on the cervix, perianal area, in the mouth or anal canal. Chancre are usually occur singly, but in immunocompromised individuals such as those who are infected with the HIV or multiple or persistent chancre may develop. So these are the single painless chancre. So chancre usually heals spontaneously within 3 to 6 weeks, and 2 to 12 weeks later the symptoms of secondary syphilis develop. These are highly variable and widespread, but most commonly involve the skin where macular or pustular lesions develop, particularly on the trunk and extremities. The lesions of the secondary syphilis are highly infectious. So progress of the disease, if there is a lapse of the lesion of secondary syphilis is a most common, and latent syphilis is classified as early or it may be late. Individuals with latent syphilis are not generally considered infectious, but may still transmit infection to the fetus during the pregnancy, and their blood may remain infectious. So they causing syphilis. So what is the syphilis? Syphilis is a systemic sexually transmitted disease caused by the Treponema pallidum bacterium. The three means of syphilis transmission are person to person via vaginal, anal or oral sex through direct contact with a syphilis chancre. Second is person to person during the foreplay, even when there is no penetrative sex, much less common. And third is the pregnant mother with the syphilis to fetus. So over here I also explained these are the syphilis. It may be the congenital or acquired. Congenital is transmitted from the mother to child in the utero, and again it is early when it is occurring 2 years of life, and then it is left after 2 years. Or acquired transmitted through the sex or blood transmission. It may be the early syphilis or late syphilis. It is called a tertiary. Early syphilis again is 3 types: primary, then secondary, and early latent. Same over the late syphilis, tertiary, they causing a neurological, cardiovascular, comatose or late latent infections. So over here further one by one we will discuss about the stages of the syphilis. The primary, secondary, latent, it may be early latent and late latent, I also explain you, and late or tertiary, which are they may involve the organs, but they also infected many parts of the body. They are a neurosyphilis, cardiovascular syphilis or late benign, they are the gamma. Stages of the syphilis, if it is untreated, syphilis may be progressive disease with primary, secondary, latent and tertiary stages. T. pallidum enters tissue by the penetration of the infect mucosa or through the abraded skin. So over there is the data, they are sexually transmitted. It is more than heterosexual into the man and then from the womb. So primary syphilis incubation period, I also tell you, is a 9 to 19 days, usually approximately 21 days. They develop at the site of contact or inoculations, and classically they chancre, which are the single painless clean base indurated ulcer with thin raised border, and they typically presentation may be there, mostly anogenital, but may occur at any site, maybe tongue, pharynx, lips, fingers, nipples, etc. They are non-tender regional adenopathies, and they are very infectious and maybe dark field positive but serologically negative, maybe there, and they are untreated, heal in several weeks, leaving a faint scar. So primary syphilis, they are indurated rice age and clear bases. They erupt in the genitals, anus and nipples, tonsillar, eyelids, start as a papules and then erodes. They disappear after 3 to 6 weeks even without the treatment. Lymphadenopathy, that is either unilateral or maybe the bilateral. So this is the example of primary syphilis. Over here into the vagina. Okay, clear cut picture of the syphilis, primary syphilis. You can see single lesion over here, right? These are the chancre on lips. Now secondary syphilis. When it is secondary, they develop after 4 to 8 weeks after healing of the primary lesions. They infected skin and mucous membrane commonly affected. So into the skin disease, they causing a condylomata lata. So it is the mucocutaneous papules coalesce to form large pink to gray lesion in a warm, moist, intergenous area such as the perianal region, vulva and scrotum. Over here, this is a picture of condylomata lata. Mucus patches is a superficial mucosal erosions. They are generalized lymphadenopathy. It may be seen, and chancre may also persist in up to 1/3 cases. So these are the lesions, secondary lesions. Okay, they are present into the skin, papulopustular rays all over the body. Now, latent syphilis. These are the absence of clinical manifestation of the syphilis with positive serological test and normal CSF findings. Patients are still infectious into the bloodstream or into the utero. So, there are the facts which are the persistent lifelong infection may be common. They develop of late syphilis is rare and they may be the spontaneously cured. So late or tertiary syphilis is a gamma 50%. Late benign syphilis, locally destructive granulomatous lesion, mostly affected bones and skin part. Neurosyphilis, they are a 10% having a meningeal syphilis, some meningitis. Meningovascular syphilis is a vasculitis of the arteries and causing a embolic stroke into the patient, and general paralysis of the inside and taps dorsalis onto the bones. Cardiovascular syphilis around 10% of the approximately 10% of the patient, and there is an aneurysm of the ascending aorta and aortic regurgitations. So these are the picture of tertiary syphilis. Now congenital syphilis. So congenital syphilis, I also told you they are transmitted at any stage of the pregnancy, and fetal damage may be after 4th month of the gestation. Other cases are there. Manifestation of the congenital syphilis include earliest manifestation within 2 years of the age, and they are infectious, snuffles, mucocutaneous and bone changes can be seen into the children, and having a hepatosplenomegaly signs are there. Then into the late congenital syphilis, they appear after 2 years of the age, and it is a non-infectious, having a interstitial keratitis or 8-nerve deafness, and bilateral knee effusions are there. And the third is the residual stigmata, which are the Hutchinson's teeth. They are notched central incisor teeth are there. Mulberry molars and saddle nose and sable scenes can be seen into the residual stigmata. Now, we are going about the laboratory diagnosis of the syphilis, which are first with direct microscopy. We take a sample from the direct chancre exudate from. Second is the dark ground microscopy. DGM this is the slender flexible spiral coil bacilli with the tapering end can be seen over here. This is the picture, and from the direct sample in direct microscopy we can see motility is a flexion or extension time, or corkscrew type of motility, or soft bending at the right angle to the midpoint. And sensitivity of the dark ground microscopy are 80%, and detection limit is 10⁴ bacilli per ml. Another is a direct fluorescent antibody staining. Over here is a distinct, sharply outlined apple green fluorescent bacilli can be seen, and sensitivity to 100% when smear made from fresh lesion are examined. Third is a silver impregnation staining. Over here, they increase the thickness of the bacilli. So, into the lividity stain, they using in the tissue section, and Fontana stain we are using from the exudate smear. And artificial media is not, they cannot grow into the artificial media, so it can be maintained by the subculture into the rabbit testes. Now serological test is antibody detections is divided into non-treponemal test and treponemal test, and another is a group specific test. So non-treponemal test we are using for the screening of the syphilis. So it detects non-specific reagent antibody by using cardiolipin antigen derived from bovine heart. Another is a treponemal test. So it detects species-specific antibody by using Treponema pallidum species-specific antigen. And another is a group-specific test. They detect group or genus-specific antibody by using Ritter's treponemal strain possessing protein antigen present in all treponemes. So another is a standard test for the syphilis. So in a non-treponemal test, detect non-specific reagent antibody using cardiolipin antigen extracted from the beef heart. So this cardiolipin antigen, they contain diphosphatidyl. The chemical name is diphosphatidyl glycerol. This we are using. So reagent antibody are IgG or rarely IgM type. Slide flocculation test we can use VDRL, venereal disease research laboratory test, rapid plasma reagent test, USR and TRUST. So Wassermann test, the complement fixation test, and another is a Kahan test, is a tube flocculation test. So VRDL, these are the widely used simple and rapid serological tests. Over here VDRL antigen, we are using cardiolipin antigen to which cholesterol and lecithin are added as a VRDL antigen, and it is a slide flocculation test. So it is a 2 times qualitative, and further if it is positive then we are done quantitative test. So in a qualitative test, inactivated serum is prepared by the heat at 50 degrees Celsius. Then a drops of VRDL antigen, and further it rotated at 180 RPM for 4 minutes in a VRDL rotator and examined under the microscope. If it is non-reactive, uniform distribution fusiform crystal can be seen onto the plate, and it is reactive, medium to large clumps can be seen. Over here, these are the picture. Uniform turbidity, and these are the large clumps can be seen. Then further, if it is positive, quantitative test we are done. So test performed with a serial dilution of the serum done with the 0.9% of the saline. So it can be diluted 1:2, 1:4, 1:8 and so on. Serum required heat before the test, but CSF, no preheating of CSF is needed, so we can be used easily. So over here, another test is a rapid plasma reagent test. So VDRL versus RPR. So what it is? So VDRL result read microscopically, clumps are smaller. So over here for the examination we required microscope for the result. RPR test result read macroscopically. Finally divided carbon particles coated cardiolipin antigen are used so that large vesicle clumps are formed. Second is antigen. Once reconstituted, should be used within 24 hours. Over here, EDTA is used as a stabilizer. Hence, RPR antigen can be stored longer up to 6 months at 4 to 10 degrees Celsius. So, these are the very useful. Another is preheating of the serum is required to remove non-specific inhibitors into the VDRL. So, into the RPR, preheating of the serum is not required as a choline chloride is used to remove the inhibitor. Next is into the VDRL, blood, plasma, serum and CSF can be tested. Over here into the RPR, blood, plasma and serum can be tested, but CSF we cannot test into the RPR test. Rotation of slide is done for 4 minutes Over here, rotation of the card is done for the 8 minute. Sensitivity in primary syphilis is 78%, and into the primary syphilis sensitivity of the RPR test is 86%. It is cheaper. 1 vial of the VDR antigen can be used for 250 tests. It is preferred for field study and for the antenatal screening. RPR is expensive than VDRL. It is a preferred when sample load is less. So, these are the difference between the VDRL and RPR. Next is the other reagent antibody test, which are the unheated serum reagent test. Is the USR is similar to the VDRL, except EDTA antigen stabilizer is used over here, and daily preparation of the antigen is not required. These are the difference. And another is a choline chloride, which is inhibit the non-specific inhibitors in the serum, so preheating is not required. Toluidine red unheated serum test. Trust. These are the modification of the RPR test where toluidine and red pigment particles can be seen, so does not require microscope for the examinations. Advantages of the non-treponema test, which are to monitor the response to the treatment. Reagent test usually become negative 6 to 18 months after the effective treatment. Into the neurosyphilis, VDR detect from the CSF sample, CSF antibodies, detectable 7 to 10 days after the appearance of the primary chancre or 3 to 5 weeks after acquiring the infections, and sensitivity varies from 78 to 85% in primary stage, 100% in secondary stage, and 95 to 98% into the latent stage. Disadvantages of the disadvantages of the non-treponema tester, which are the biological false positive VFP reactions, which are the positive non-treponemal test with negative treponemal test. In absence of the syphilis and no technical fault, it is called a biological false positive. Biological false positive antibody is the 1% of the normal sera or IgM type. They can be into the conditions like lepromatous leprosy, relapsing fever, malaria, tropical pulmonary eosinophilia, viral hepatitis, infectious mononucleosis, HIV, pregnancy and IV drug abusers. So it is very important. Another is a Poisson phenomena, more highly concentration of the antibody, so dilution is required. Sensitivity to non-treponema test is low in the late stage, and non-treponema tests are used as a screening test. So these are the syphilis test sensitivity and specificity. Another is a Treponema pallidum immobilization test, TPI test, which principle is the patient's antibody and complement to immobilize the live actively motile Treponema pallidum, and Nichols strains are used. Observe under dark ground microscope. Next is a fluorescent treponema antibody absorption test, is a FDA ABS test. They use kill pallidum indirect fluorescent antibody technique. Patient serum diluted with the extract of the non-pathogenic greater treponema to remove group specific treponemal antibody, and then layer on a slide previously coated with the killed treponema pallidum. The serum antibody bound to the treponema pallidum can be detected by addition of the fluorescent label anti-human immunoglobulins and examined under fluorescent microscope. Another is IgM FTA ABS test. Is the advantages is highly sensitive and specific in all stages of the syphilis. First serological test to be positive following infection, and they detect CSF antibodies. The disadvantage is false positive result in a Lyme disease. Treponema pallidum hemagglutination assay TPHA is mostly widely used nowadays. So 10 sheep RBC coated with a Treponema pallidum antigen we are using. So if it is reactive, result smooth mat of agglutinated cell in a microtiter plate. If it is non-reactive, result compact button in the center of the well. Quantitations done by the serial dilution of the patient sera, and advantages which are the affordable, easy to perform, available is a commercial kit, and no special equipment is needed. Detect CSF antibodies, so they can be used all over. Sensitivity and specificity of the TPHA are excellent, so it's a good test. Another is the enzyme ELISA. Enzyme immunoassay is a ELISA specific to IgG and IgM. They have an excellent sensitivity and specificity. Western blot detect the IgG and IgM antibodies separately. It's a highly sensitive and specific. Next is a group specific test, is a Ritter's protein complement fixation test, and molecular method is a PCR based technique. Diagnosis of the congenital syphilis, a definitive diagnosis. Demonstration of the T. pallidum by the DGM of umbilical cord, placenta, nasal discharge or skin lesion materials, and presumptive diagnosis can be done by the infant born to a mother who had syphilis at the time of delivery regardless of the finding in the infant, and reactive treponema test into the infant. One of the following addition criteria which are the clinical sign and symptoms of the congenital syphilis: abnormal CSF finding without other cause, reactive VDRL CSF test, reactive IgM antibody test specific for the syphilis IgM, FTABS or IgM ELISA, and presence of specific IgM in neonatal serum confirm the diagnosis. Both syphilis and HIV both are affected each other pathogenesis. Problem in the diagnosis of syphilis and HIV infected people are confusing clinical picture, lack of serological response, unusually high titer in non-treponemal test, failure of non-treponemal test titer to decline even after treatment, disappearance of the treponema test reactivity over a time. So treatment for the syphilis is a penicillin is the drug of choice for all the stages of the syphilis. Primary, secondary or early latent syphilis, single dose of penicillin G is given, and latent CVS or benign tertiary stage, penicillin G is given single dose weekly for 3 weeks. Alternative drug is used in patients with penicillin allergy. Primary, secondary, latent CVS or benign tertiary syphilis, tetracycline can be used, and neurosyphilis or pregnancy or associated HIV, desensitization to penicillin can be used. Evaluation of the treatment: we should do non-treponemal test, maybe the VDRL or RPR. For primary and secondary syphilis, at least 4-fold decline in the titer by the 3rd or 4th month, and 8-fold decline in the titer by 6 to 8 months. Latent or late syphilis or patient with a multiple episode of the syphilis gradually decline in titer. Low titer may persist for the year. So the next is a non-venereal trypanosomes. Over here, venereal is a Treponema pallidum. Yos, they caused by the Treponema pertini. Endemic syphilis is a Treponema endemica, and Pinta is a caused by the Treponema caretium. Mode of transmission: syphilis, I also explain you. Yos, skin to skin contact. Endemic syphilis caused by household contacts like kissing, sharing, utensil or insect vector. And caretium Pinta disease is transmitted by skin to skin contact. Age: syphilis adulthood. Yos is into the early childhood age. Endemic syphilis also in early childhood age, and Pinta is a late childhood age. Primary lesions into the yos having a papilloma, often ulcerative, and lymphadenopathy are seen. Endemic syphilis, primary lesion rarely seen, and into the Pinta, non-ulcerating pruritic papules lesion can be seen. Site of lesions is into the ears is extremities. Endemic syphilis usually oral, and pinta extremities and face. Secondary lesion into the ears is skin lesion is a macular or papular periostitis, and endemic syphilis oral mucus patches periostitis and lymphadenopathy are seen. And into the pinta, pintades and pigmented and pruritic lesions are seen. So venereal disease is the difference is skin rashes, mucosal patches and condylomata lata are seen. Relapse is most commonly approximately 25% into the syphilis. Yours is usually common. Endemic syphilis relapse is not unknown, and pinta known. Late complications into the yo and endemic syphilis are destructive gamma of the skin, bone cartilage, and destruction of the nose, maxilla, palate, and pharynx term is a gangosa. And into the pinta, non-destructive dyschromic macules can be seen. So into the venereal syphilis, late complications are gamma, CVS, and CNS lesions are also explained. Next is the Borrelia. So Borrelia is a similar structure of the Trypanosoma and Leptospira with the minor differences. Size is larger, 10 to 30 micrometer in length and 0.2 to 0.5 micrometer in breadth. Spirals have less in number, 3 to 10, with wider spirals 3 micrometer. Endoflagella more in number, 7 to 11, and attached subterminally at the pole. And microscopically, Borrelia is a poorly gram strain, and so better view under dark ground microscopy or silver impregnation staining methods. Most species occurs as common cells on the buccal and genital mucosa. Human pathogenic species are Borrelia recurrentis causing epidemic relapsing fever, Borrelia burgdorferi is causing Lyme disease, and Borrelia vincenti causing Vincent angina associated with fusiform bacilli. So relapsing fever, which are the recurrent episode of the fever and non-specific symptoms, is two types: epidemic rheumatic relapsing fever and endemic relapsing fever. The epidemic is caused by the Borrelia recurrentis and transmitted by louse. This is very important. And endemic relapsing fever caused by the Borrelia species other than Borrelia recurrentis, such as the Borrelia duttoni or Borrelia hermesi and Borrelia turricatea. Then these are transmitted by the tick. So these are the difference. Epidemic transmitted by the louse, and endemic they are transmitted by the tick. Mode of transmission, same. I also epidemic is by body louse, is a pediculus humanus by the crushing, not biting of the louse. So this is very important. Endemic relapsing fevers by bite of the infected tick. So this is the one of the another important epidemic relapsing fever. They are transmitted by louse, but when it is crushed, okay. And endemic relapsing fever by bite of the infected tick is a Ornithodorus species. Frequent antigenic variations can be seen into the Borrelia surface antigen, and repeated bacterium and recurrent febrile episodes are seen. Incubation periods are 7 to 8 days. Recurrent febrile episodes are 3 to 5 days, with intervening febrile periods are 7 to 9 days. Non-specific symptoms are alteration of the sensorium, abdominal pain, vomiting and diarrhea, hemorrhages, petechia, epistaxis, and blood-tinged sputum can be present, and neurological features are meningitis, seizures, focal deficit, paraplegia, and psychosis in 10 to 30% of the patient. So these are the one of the table: epidemic relapsing fever and endemic relapsing fever. These are the agent: Borrelia recurrentis, and over here endemic Borrelia duttoni and hermesi. Natural host is a human, and over here endemic is a relapsing fever is a rodent. The tick transmitted by louse, by crushing or rubbing, and is a tick bite. I also explain you. Distributions is a East Africa, in Sudan or Ethiopia, and this endemic relapsing fever is North America, Central Asia, and throughout the Africa. Hemorrhage and CNS features more common into the epidemic relapsing fever, and is a less common into the endemic relapsing fever. Treatment is a doxycycline single dose, and over here doxycycline for the 1 week. Laboratory diagnosis: peripheral thick or thin smear stained by the rice or giemsa stain. You can see over here, these are the Borrelia. A direct fluorescent antibody test can be used. Direct ground microscope having a low sensitivity into the Borrelia. Quantitative Buffy cord smear QPS we also use into the malaria. And over here, and this is a poorly gram negative culture can be into the blood. From blood, animal pathogenicity testing is intraperitoneal elocution into the white mouse. ELISA and indirect fluorescent assay. 4-fold rise of the titer is significant for Borrelia. Okay, GLPQ assay, which are the most reliable serological method. Immunoblot assay, detection antibody against the recombinant is a GLPQ. Antigen and molecular method, multiplex real-time PCR targeting 16S rRNA and GLPQ genes. Treatment is doxycycline or erythromycin. It's a drug of choice and single dose of epidemic relapsing fever and 7 to 10 days course for the endemic relapsing fever. Another next is a Lyme disease. So it is a 3 genome species Borrelia burgdorferi sensu-lato. Its example is a Borrelia burgdorferi in the general sense. Borrelia burgdorferi sensu stricto is a Borrelia burgdorferi in the strict sense. Borrelia guerini and Borrelia abzeli. These are the agents. Epidemiology is a reservoir is a rodent and deer. All 3 genome species found into the Europe. Borrelia burgdorferi, sole cause of the Lyme disease into the USA, and Borrelia guerini and Borrelia abzeli, it is infectious into the Asia. Transmissions by the tick bite, ixodes, ricinus complex. All 3 stages of the tick, larval, nymphal and adult stages are infective. So this is also very important. All 3 stages can be infected into the Lyme disease. The expression of the surface antigen is the outer surface protein A in midgut of the tick is very important for the survival, and protein OSPC that bind to a tick salivary gland protein is a SALP15 is a crucial for the transmission. So these both are very important. Okay. Stage clinical manifestation with the stage is early localized infections. This looking like this, owl-eye like. Incubation period is 3 to 32 days. Annular maculopapular lesion at the site of the tick bite is a erythema migrans. These are the erythema migrans. Site is the thigh, groin and axilla. Stage 2 further is the early disseminated infection spread hematogeneously to many sites within day or week, resulting in secondary annular skin lesions. Musculoskeletal pain is the arthralgia can be present. Profound malaise and fatigue and neurological abnormalities, which are the Bain-March syndrome. Over here, encephalitis, meningitis can be seen, and cardiac involvements are there. Stage 3 is a late persistent infection, Lyme arthritis. The frank arthritis involving large joint, especially into the knee. Acrodermatitis chronica atrophies can be caused by the Borrelia abzeli, and post-Lyme syndrome. It is a chronic fatigue symptoms and neurocognitive manifestation also seen into the post-Lyme syndrome. Isolations, they can be cultured from the skin lesion, blood or CSF into the Barber's, Toyner's, Kelly medium and incubated 34 degrees Celsius, and then dark field microscope quickly for the 2 months can be seen. Molecular method is a PCR, better for the detection of joint fluid, but its sensitivity is poor for CSF, blood or urine sample, and PCR RLF. Serological test is most common method of the diagnosis. ELISA and Western blot detect IgM and IgG separately. 4-fold rise of the antibodies are more very significant. 2-test approach, ELISA first and second. If it is positive, confirmed by the Western blot. So 2 tests should be for the confirmations. C6 peptide IgG ELISA, second generation ELISA uses VLSC lipoprotein antigen for the Borrelia burgdorferi and increased WBC count, giant fluid, elevated polymorphonuclear cell, and into the CSF lymphocytosis is the presumptive sign of the Borrelia into the Lyme disease. For all stages of Lyme disease except CNS and CV is infections, adult given. Oral doxycycline is a drug of the choice, and to the children, amoxicillin can be given. Duration of the treatment is also follow localized skin infection should given 14 days. Early disseminated infections for 21 days treatment can be given, and acrodermatitis 30 days and arthritis 30 to 60 days treatment should be given. For CNS or serious infections, ceftriaxone for 14 to 28 days given. Then Vincent angina, which are the acute ulcerative necrotizing gingivostomatitis. Borrelia vincenti in associated with the Leptotrichia bacchalis and anaerobic gram-negative bacilli in spindle shape with pointed end. We can be seen over here. Okay. Both the agents are normal flora of the mouth, potential pathogen in presence of the malnutrition or viral infections. Inflamed pharyngeal mucosa covered by the grace membrane and peel off easily. These are the same sign. Laboratory diagnosis, they demonstrate of the spirochete and fusiform bacilli in stain smear. Treatment is of the Vincent angina is a penicillin and metronidazole. It's a drug of the choice. So these are the over. Thank you.